The arrows fell like rain, whispering through the crimson canopy of Cathara 4, as Lieutenant Mara Voss staggered through the alien forest, her breath sharp and uneven, her pulse hammering in her skull like distant artillery, each step sinking into blood-red moss that swallowed sound like a living thing. And though she had served 12 long years in the Terran Expeditionary Fleet, through sieges, riots, mutinies, and the brutal vacuum of space, nothing had prepared her for dying on a world whose name she still couldn't pronounce, shielding children of a species that, until recently, considered humans barely worthy of notice. Yet here she was, stumbling through violet light and shadow as distant war cries vibrated through the trees, a deep, rolling thunder that grew closer with every passing heartbeat. And everything changed when she heard it. The soft, broken, terrified whimper of a cuth cub, so faint it could have...
The arrows fell like rain, whispering through the crimson canopy of Cathara 4, as Lieutenant Mara Voss staggered through the alien forest, her breath sharp and uneven, her pulse hammering in her skull like distant artillery, each step sinking into blood-red moss that swallowed sound like a living thing. And though she had served 12 long years in the Terran Expeditionary Fleet, through sieges, riots, mutinies, and the brutal vacuum of space, nothing had prepared her for dying on a world whose name she still couldn't pronounce, shielding children of a species that, until recently, considered humans barely worthy of notice. Yet here she was, stumbling through violet light and shadow as distant war cries vibrated through the trees, a deep rolling thunder that grew closer with every passing heartbeat. And everything changed when she heard it, the soft, broken, terrified whimper of a Cthuth cub, so faint it could have been the wind, yet loaded with pure, helpless fear. And when she dropped into the ravine, she found 3 of them huddled together, small compared to their adult kin, yet still taller than a human adolescent, their fur bristled, their claws out but trembling, their amber eyes reflecting her like she was a ghost, their guide lying dead nearby with blood-roar arrows jutting from his ribs. And in that instant, the entire mission, the entire galaxy collapsed into a single decision: leave them and live, or stay and die. And something deep inside her, older than military training, older than the Coalition, older even than Earth's recorded history, rose like a burning star, a human instinct shaped by millennia of defending the young, the weak, the innocent. And before she could question the logic or futility of it, she stepped into the 4-foot mouth of the ravine, planting herself between the cubs and the advancing shadows, her armor cracked, her sidearm nearly empty, her calm shattered, her chances of survival non-existent. And when the blood roar emerged from the crimson underbrush, 8 towering predators bearing ceremonial scars and eyes burning with righteous fury, they did not hesitate, did not negotiate, did not even slow. Their leader, a grizzled female whose muzzle was streaked with gray, simply raised her bow and snarled, "Move aside, softkin." But Mara, heart thundering, voice steady, said the only thing she could: no. And time seemed to suspend as the first volley flew, arrows cutting the air with a hiss like venom, slamming into her shoulder, her thigh, her abdomen, each impact a detonation of agony that blurred her vision yet did not move her feet. And the cubs behind her whimpered and trembled and clung to her armor like drowning children grabbing a lifeline. But she held the line, her arms spread like a shield, her body braced between stone walls. And when the second volley came, it hit harder, deeper, tearing through gaps in her armor, ricocheting off ceramic plates, cracking bone, filling her mouth with blood, so warm it tasted like iron fire. Yet she refused to collapse, refused to give the warriors even an inch of the opening, because every arrow that hit her was one more arrow that did not hit the children behind her. And though her muscles spasmed and her legs trembled and her breath came in jagged, broken fragments, something unbreakable inside her locked into place. And when the blood roar paused to reload, Their leader stared at her not with hatred, but with something like awe or disbelief, as she growled, "Why do you not fall, human?" And though blood streamed down her chin and her vision tunneled into darkness, she smiled, a cracked, bloody, defiant smile, and whispered, "Because they're behind me." And that single sentence became a spark, a moment, a legend, the kind of story planets build monuments around, the kind soldiers repeat in barracks for generations, because the third volley hit her like a storm meant to erase her existence, sending her to her knees, arrows jutting from her like broken branches. Yet even then she wedged herself into the gap so tightly that her dying body became a barrier no arrow could bypass. And as dropships thundered faintly in the distance, too far to save her, but close enough to be the last sound she'd ever hear, Mara heard Terran, the eldest cub, whisper, not scared anymore, but reverent, trembling with awe. She didn't move. The human didn't move. Before darkness pulled her under like a silent ocean, and she awoke 3 days later in a Coalition medical bay, her body more synthetic fiber than flesh, her bloodstream filled with regeneration compounds, her chest bandaged like a cracked shell around organs that should not have survived. And the doctors told her she had taken 43 arrows, 17 fatal, and lived anyway. And when Terran arrived, flanked by diplomats and elders, he approached her alone with a ceremonial blade wrapped in crimson cloth, offering it with trembling hands and ancient words, "True strength is not in the hunt, but in the stand," declaring her Vimar, Mother of the Brave, an honorary guardian of Clan Tan, and title no outsider had ever received, and Mara, holding the blade, felt the weight of the forest, the weight of the arrows, the weight of the moment she decided not to move, and she realized the galaxy would remember humans not for their weapons or their wars, but for something far older, far deeper, the terrifying, stubborn, awe-inspiring ability to stand unbroken in front of certain death simply because innocent lives were behind them. And though she tried to dismiss her heroism by whispering, "I just did what anyone would," Terran's amber eyes, ancient and knowing despite his youth, met hers with a truth that sent chills down her spine. "No, Mother of the Brave, only a human would do that." And in that moment, Mara Voss finally understood what humanity meant to a galaxy full of predators and prey. Not dominance, not strength, not savagery, but the unyielding, unstoppable will to be the shield that never falls, the wall that never breaks, the lone figure who stands in the doorway and whispers to the darkness, "You cannot pass, for the arrows may fall like rain, but humans, true humans, do not move."